When it comes to the Blue Bomber's greatest adventures, there's something about the fourth entry across each incarnation of its flagship series that makes them unforgettable. A number that's synonymous with greatness throughout the franchise. Funny enough, it sorta has the opposite effect with the big threes. Titles that often bite off a little bit more than they can chew, leaving them coming up a tad short of their true potential. There's only a handful of contenders that are a true exception, though when it comes to Mega Man, he tends to find his stride the fourth time around the block. To be fair, the dude never really had a dud, so for the ultimate defender, don't take this to heart. I just find that most fans regard Mega Man 4 and Mega Man X4 as some of our guys' very best work. Hey, 4 is a lucky number depending on how you look at it, right? People search out 4-leaf clovers for a good enough reason. So maybe with that in mind, the lesson we should all take from this little dude right here is to just suck it up and keep on pushing forward. Repetition is the father of learning, so never just throw the towel in when you feel defeated. I mean, with the amount of time it takes to write, record, and edit these, I'm trying my very best to get my stuff out on a somewhat weekly basis, even if the almighty algorithm spites me. And that's okay. I love making content in my downtime. And speaking of such, I've given Mega Man 4 on the NES its flowers on numerous occasions. In fact, it was my very first Mega Man title I played through on my channel all those years back, which is why today's review of Rockman World 4 is so important for me to review. The big question we need to answer collectively is if those magical numbers also applies to the Game Boy titles. Well, I can confidently say World 3 has lived up to the stigma, so we shouldn't waste any time now, as we now jump into Chapter 4 of this 5-part saga across the Rockman World saga. Shortly after the stored events of Rockman World 3, scientists around the globe come together to celebrate the annual World Robot Expo. Well, I guess they're gonna just sweep the robot revolt under the rug, since everything just so happens to be running smoothly all of a sudden, huh? Alongside his colleagues in attendance, Dr. Light proceeds to kick off the event with a stunning showcase of his colleagues' work. Scientists of various nations, whom specialize in the field of robotics, coming together to celebrate an all-new cast of robot masters stretching the vast reaches of the globe, united under one act, to uphold peace and maintain order. However, during this spectacle, a large spacecraft surfaces overtop the expo, revealing a special guest whom looks to be fashionably late to the party. That being none other than yours truly, whom is just foaming at the mouth to get his grubby mitts on some sweet new robos. With his recent mastery of airwave frequencies, he sends out a radio wave to intercept the functionality of robots and robot masters alike, allowing old Wily here a way to control their circuitry with the luxury to do so from his tiny space pod. With a vast army at his fingertips, this master hacker proceeds to put a plan into motion to take the world by storm. There's a few clues here that potentially points to where these events may ultimately take place. For starters, we have confirmation, thanks to Dr. Light, that the team was in possession of Beat during Wily's attack on the expo, causing our poor buddy here to malfunction, now requiring specific components in order to rebuild him. This leads me to believe that this takes place after the events of Mega Man 5 on the NES. As we have come to learn, our feathered friend was given to Mega Man as a gift by Dr. Cossack. An interesting fact to note here, Mega Man has also been converted back into Light's personal lab assistant, which gives Wily ample time to put his plans in motion. Unfortunately, our hero will require a bit of downtime to undergo his Mega Man persona. This grants these robots ample time to run rampant across the city. Fear not, this soft relaunch of our Blue Bomber seems to be coming along quite nicely, and just like that, our Rockman 2.0 is up and running. So, it's time to get a move on, taking a few new goodies with us for the road ahead, as our hero prepares for battle against whatever opposing threat is headed his way. Now, upon firing this baby up, you'll find this package adds an extra layer of storytelling our previous handheld entries lacked. This is done through some exceptional cutscenes that add some much needed context to the chain of events rolling out across the manual. I believe it's safe to say old Minaguchi Engineering were firing on all cylinders here, introducing us to a heated exchange between our two rivals for a sneak peek of what's to come. The moment you get started, it's even more apparent as our heroes met with a rotating docket of our first 4 robot masters, showcasing the battlegrounds you'll soon be traversing across. I think this is a nice change of scenery from the traditional select screen. I think this also gives veterans and newcomers to the series some clues for what order to choose when going about your business, especially with the intent of bringing an enemy skill into combat. The updated visuals are met with some sweet new tracks that gives these robot masters a bit more of a killer edge. A dynamic pairing of audio and visuals that already exceeds expectations, and before you know it, you find there's far more under the hood of this tiny Game Boy cart than you would truly imagine. I don't know, I just think the stage select theme goes way too hard. Mega Man 4 brings a level of polish to the Game Boy that puts it right on track with the NES titles. Add this DX color palette into the mix, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. The controls are buttery smooth, and the added attention to detail makes this feel like something entirely its own. Taking everything our first 3 handheld adventures did correctly, and further expanding on the series to give us a perfect balance in play and challenge that hits this sweet spot for me, which keeps me coming back for more. This is further expanded on by tweaking core mechanics while incorporating quality measures into any and all editions. This applies right down to our Blue Bomber's very Mega Buster, adding a slight recoil to his charge shot when released at full power. Once that burst of light emanates from his cannon, it's knocking our hero back in the opposing direction in which fired. It may feel like an odd nerf to go with here, but I believe it adds a degree of balance to an attack that is already somewhat overpowered to begin with. As much as I love the charge shot, I can't deny its crippling effects. In some cases, it can be damn near game-breaking, dealing nearly as much damage to your foe as the very enemy skill they're weak against, making many of them feel like an afterthought. I believe adding a tiny recoil to the charge shot is the perfect trade-off, giving the technique a bit more purpose and requiring you to add a little more strategy into your offense. Keep in mind, you don't lose your charge when hit, but you should still be mindful of your surroundings when releasing, especially when soaring over a pitfall. You never know when you just may find yourself in the danger zone. Now, although you may take a bit more damage mastering this maneuver, if you find yourself in a pinch, you have those sweet new P-chips you can cash in to fall back on. What are P-chips, you ask? They're what I like to call tiny power pellets designed by Dr. Light for just this occasion. They're essentially the precursor to what would become screws in later installments. Tiny capsules that come in 2 sizes that can be traded in like currency to purchase supplies over at Light Labs. You're gonna stumble upon these P-chips throughout your travels. Some might take a little more sniffing out to locate, while others are rewarded through enemy drops. Be sure to seek them out. You never know when you need a quick fix. Plus, they give you a good reason to pop in from time to time to see what the doctor's been brewing up lately. He's got all the essentials for just about any occasion. Need an E-tank? Well, now they come in various sizes and flavors. Take the Tear and Share minis here for example. 4 tiny tanks in total that when collected, gives our blue boy a spare E-tank to take into battle. Want something to fill a specific weapon? Well, why not treat yourself to a W-tank? Hell, you can even go balls to the wall and open an S-tank to get the full fix so you can pull an all-nighter across these metallic runways. Just remember, regardless what you got in the tank, be sure to drink responsibly, folks. Now, let's carry on. Reaching Wily's fortress is easier said than done. He might have did away with his first 4 rampaging robots, but that doesn't mean you're gonna just waltz on into his castle. Wily must have learned his lesson our last go around because he's added a few new security measures to his facility. If you feel like trespassing, he won't hesitate to throw out a Hail Mary of missile strikes to keep you and your no-good canine from shitting on his lawn. You're gonna have to play by the doctor's rules if you want to move through security, as he's got plenty of bots roaming the premises to leave you frozen in your tracks. Oh, and by the way, if you don't cooperate, he'll send his hired muscle in to bounce you out of existence. Meet Ballade, our latest Mega Man killer, whom takes his role as Fortress Guard quite seriously. He's got just as much bark as he does bite, equipped with a military-grade offense that makes him tactile to all hell. If you're not careful, you'll find yourself on the receiving end of his Ballade cracker, which is fired simultaneously from his 2 wrist cannons. He's a master in the art of war, basing his attacks off our blue bomber's positioning he takes during battle. He's got several ways to switch up his strategy, and if you hesitate, he's stampeding over you. So again, positioning is key, telegraphing his movements while he plans his next strike. He's not just another Mega Man killer, there's much more to his motives, and his pride to be the very best will prove just that, displaying qualities of a robot whom is slowly discovering their own free will. This will come into play the moment the battle culminates, finding Ballade fleeing the scene to fight another day. In my opinion, Mega Man 4 deserves all the praise it gets. Each stage provides you with a few extra offerings to make a second trip across them feel anything but a chore. Here replayability can be rewarding, taking you on a tiny scavenger hunt to not only fix your fallen comrade, but also progress the story with each new discovery you make. 2 sets of 4 unique plates that can be obtained across the adventure that spells out their functionality. 1 set corresponding to each set of 4 Robot Masters. The first set will fix your buddy Beat, which will join the adventure to peck to death anyone that hurts our Blue Bomber, and the other acts as a key of sorts to grant access to Wily's launch base, where he's currently at work finishing up his latest Doomsday device. With our plates in hand, bringing Wily's second wave of Robot Masters offline grants our hero access to this new launch site. It's essentially the equivalent to Super Mario Land 2, the 6 golden coins, where the only way you're coming face to face with old Wario is securing that precious loot. Once inside this crazy crash site, you'll find there isn't too much commotion ahead, signaling that something's in fact going down close by, as the gates up ahead house the recently repaired Ballade, whom has been eagerly anticipating a rematch. Unlike the Mega Man killers of old, Ballade can undergo a transformation, a second form that's pretty stylized I might add, sporting some blacked out shades and a killer set of horns to spearhead the opposition. This new form grants him far greater power, and his Ballade cracker has a much larger surface spread to it. But if you stick to the script we went over prior, you're gonna get the same results. Remember, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. With Ballade bested for a second time around, you'll finally score that sweet enemy skill of his, and just in time too, as this launch site begins to initiate an emergency shutdown, triggering the self-destruct sequence with our blue bomber inside. With moments to blow this joint, you'll find yourself surrounded by missiles to a suffocating degree. Well, it may appear like all hope is lost, but if you make good use of that enemy skill, you just may manage to find a way out, creating a chain reaction across the chamber to clear a path forward. Once you find a safe space, it's time to teleport up and out this bitch, just in time to witness Wily jetting off to his intergalactic warship deep in the outskirts of space, where even bigger problems are about to unfold as you follow this madman on a one-way trip to the ends of the universe. Once you touch down atop Wily's warship, you'll have quite the hike ahead of you. You need to explore this top deck to great lengths if you're looking to sneak inside. This sounds easy enough on paper and all, but there's just one problem. You got a slew of snipers mounted from high to low, just waiting to pick you off the moment you goof up. To make matters worse, this deck is flooded with test strikes, as if Wily has been doing some training drills in preparation for war. Side note too, is it just me or does his latest infantry troops kinda look like pint-sized variants of the Wily Machine 3 from our most recent episode? I guess he's looking to mass produce these things over at the manufacturing plant. Whatever the case may be, just keep a lookout above you. You'll eventually find an access point below, but unfortunately, to get inside, you'll need to lower the shields, which just so happens to be heavily guarded, so you got your work cut out for you here. The interior of this craft is a sight to see. The backgrounds are layered in exposed framework, showcasing the power of this mighty vessel, equipped with an assortment of tiny moving parts, gears working in tandem to cohesively power this warship. Seeing this level of craftsmanship on display was pretty mind-blowing as a kid. What's even more impressive is the way the level themes go hand in hand, giving you this deeper sense of urgency as you attempt to stay afloat across some tight moving segments. You'll need to remain humble at all times, because the moment you get the least bit cocky, you're getting punished for it. The further you venture below, the more security ramps up, as you'll soon be required to dismantle the main security system when breaching the control center. Deep inside, Wily awaits, but old habits are hard to break, as you find the old doctor has played the one hand he knows best. That's sending you through a traditional robot gauntlet in hopes you'll cave under pressure. This is a first for the Game Boy, which is surprising, considered everything else packed into this. You're essentially playing the equivalent of a AAA NES title right here on the Game Boy, and trust me, the moment you reach the inner chamber, your mind will be blown once more. Mastering this latest wave of radical robots grants the old doctor enough time to complete this doomsday device as you teleport into an intergalactic battle arena that lies somewhere atop this warship. This isn't just the latest Wily machine, not by a long shot. What stands before us here is symbolic, a representation of one scientist's life's work, which captures the mind, body, and soul of a particular madman. The mighty Iron Golem. This thing's sheer nightmare fuel from head to toe that'll break you mentally and physically. A doomsday device that will finally rid Wily of the one thing which stands in his way of supremacy. Without hesitation, the Mad Doctor powers this massive titan online, using its reach to smear our blue buddy across the cold hard exterior of this warship. The Iron Golem packs a heavy punch, boxing you out of frame by dropping in with those massive steel hammers. To make matters worse, he'll begin to demolish the arena around you, dropping in with those steel hammer fists, which cause the ship's foundation to come crashing down atop you. You're gonna have to find a means to climb aboard this big bitch, catching a ride across those steel extremities to deal some damage to his central power core. If you're lucky enough, you can find a sweet groove of your own design, squeezing past the shitstorm now hailing down from above as you continue your assault. Once the Iron Golem has taken enough damage, Wily will drop down to your level to see what the commotion is about. He seems to always find a way to put that noggin of his to good use, so keep your distance to avoid those telepathic attacks, because if this maneuver doesn't shock you, you're still gonna get a reality check, getting bodied by the brute force of the Golem's head crush. Overcoming this feat is damn near impossible, so hopefully you cashed in your P-chips earlier, because you need all the first aid you can get if you're gonna outlast this back and forth. Once you find his weak point, be ready to shut this old geezer up the moment he begins to flap his gums. This is the fight of all title fights, and a culmination of all the pain Wily has put you through across these handheld endeavors. So keep your composure and charge up that buster cannon to take this cowboy on one last ride, launching a charged blast right towards Wily to eat his every last word as you send this behemoth down for the count. With the Iron Golem destroyed, Wily looks to evacuate the premises, popping up with his escape pod to flee the scene. He begins to hurl down some sticky green explosives, which bounces throughout the pavement below to eat up the ground beneath you. The impact of these strikes may cause your untimely demise, so be sure to measure each gap accordingly for a smooth landing each time you execute your attack. As Wily continues to press forward, he continues to send more strikes below. However, all the bullshit he can fling ain't saving him from what he's got coming to him, and without the safety of his Iron Golem, Wily quickly realizes he's been bested once more as his capsule comes crashing down, leaving the poor sap kneeling in mercy once more. Just be sure to soak in the moment, because we all know it won't last long. With enough small talk, Wily will initiate his exit strategy, as a grappling hook quickly emerges from beneath his lab coat, granting him an exit from this now collapsing warship that's surrounding the two of you. With this warship set to self-destruct, we find it's now en route for a crash course with Earth. The moment you look to reverse course, you discover our hero is now trapped inside, clawing across each corridor in hopes to blast his way out. As the ship's steel structure begins to close in around our hero, our blue bomber begins to count down his final moments. That is until he's confronted by Ballade, whom appears in critical condition. It's here our two robots learn they're more alike than they realized, as their final exchange results with Ballade making the ultimate sacrifice, coming to the realization that perhaps this world needs more than anything is one whom will fight for it. With a simple nod, this so-called killer proves he's every bit a hero, doing the one thing he knew he could to solidify a greater future for mankind, sacrificing himself to create an opening which blows a hole in the ship's framework for Mega Man to escape through, quickly becoming sucked out into space where he's recovered by Rush. With the two watching on from a distance, Wily's warship vanishes before them. However, on their journey back home, our hero thinks back to Ballade's noble sacrifice. Perhaps if things were different, the two would have been more than just rivals. This, in my opinion, is where the Mega Man series sparked the idea to create Base, as we soon enough begin to see an evolution in robots. These robots proved to be more than simple killers. They were designed with the intent to usher in the next generation of robotics, the future of the Mega Man series, that is. With that in mind, I believe these particular handheld entries were the very catalyst to see this vision through. But that's just my theory, folks, and I look forward to your thoughts on the matter in the weeks to come. However, time waits for no man or machine as we now head into the final hours of this handheld marathon, so be sure to be here next week. Same rockin' time, same rockin' channel. Have a good night, everybody.